I know Thibodeau didn't want to admit it, but it was I was waiting to see if he'd take out his guys. But if I'm Cornet, at a certain point, I'm saying, dude, I'm 7-1. What do you want out of me? Like, yeah, I can stop the ball when the other team shoots. Why is this shocking to you? I was given the opportunity to play 26 minutes. It was a blowout. I had 10 points and 7 blocks. Thank you.
Yeah, there are some exceptions to that, but only in Game 7s. Like Kelly Olynyk went nuts in a Game 7 to put them in an Eastern Conference Finals.
Of course.
But in a Game 5 situation,
Jesus, John Starks, who missed a shot that could have
would have won them a championship.
Would have won them a championship. But John Starks gets to sit at those Knicks games and be introduced because of what he did in the playoffs. Obviously, I understand that. But a game, and Luke Kornet, great and good for him, and he was part of the reason they won last night. But Jesus, this need to mythologize and put a storyline on every dumb game. Tatum is out for 2 years. That's enough of a story.
Either that or an NBA Finals game. You mythologize that, but not in round 2 in Game 5.
And you better have done something pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of Jordan over Craig Elo. You think, I mean, there's things that Steve Kerr. I mean, there's like things you think of, but I mean, not every year, and not every year in the finals. What moment of the playoffs do you remember last year? Well, John probably remembers all of them with that bird brain is.
Peyton Pritchard's half-court shot.
He's always on deck with something. He's always waiting for Grandy to come down lame. So he's got to keep in touch with these games. But you know what I remember?
Cornet game.
I'm not the guy to ask, to be honest with you, because I don't remember anything. You know what I remember from the finals last year? Wick Grossbeck learning that he didn't own the team. That's what I remember from the finals last year. That's what I remember from the whole playoff run. Is Wick Grossbeck smiling one day and not smiling the next. Mm-hmm. Jay King covers the Celtics for The Athletic. Please tell me you don't have a column saying it was the Luke Kornet game. I'll feel foolish.
That was quite a lead-in.
Thank you.
Can it at least be the Luke Kornet third quarter?
Sure. I look, he played well, but isn't it a little what is the word? Like condescending? Condescending is not the word, but it's patronizing. Isn't it a little patronizing
that's the word, yeah.
to Luke Kornet to like mythologize his game last night?
Maybe, but they were tied at halftime of an elimination game. And they were in danger, obviously, of losing their season. They benched Kristaps Porzingis, who gave them nothing in the first half and has given them very little all series. And Luke Kornet comes in and blocks 5 shots in the third quarter. So it wasn't just a blowout. It was a tie game, and he blocked 5 shots, and then it became a blowout largely because of Luke Kornet. I'm the type of guy who remembers everything like that.
Well, you cover the team.
I remember the Gerald Green series where Brad Stevens started Gerald Green. It was like their 13th man, and they ripped off 4 straight wins. So I'm probably not the guy to have this conversation.
That's a sickness.
First
King.
First round against Chicago, right, Jay?
Yeah. See, you remember too. You remember the Gerald Green series.
Yeah, right.
Now you're laying in the same nest as Wallach. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right. John has got this theory that all this pressure is on the Knicks now. Do you agree with him?
I mean, both teams have a lot of pride. Let's be honest. The Celtics are the defending champions. With or without Jason Tatum, they think they have enough talent to win Game 6, to win Game 7, and advance. If they do advance, it'd be the Pacers waiting for them. They probably think they could beat the Pacers again, who they swept last year. That's a proud team, and I think they feel a lot of pressure now. In a weird way, like it felt like the Jason Tatum injury galvanized them in some way. Obviously, they're crushed for their teammate, but I think they also kind of regrouped after that. Jaylen Brown and Al Horford had a talk with them, like, this is not how we're going out. We need to, have a much better showing in Game 5, and that was some serious heart that they showed in Game 5 to extend the series after, the devastation of losing Tatum for not just this season, but probably most of next season, and we'll see if they can keep it up. But I think there's pressure on both teams.
Yeah, of course there's pressure on both sides, Jay. But the fact that the Celtics won last night might be the least surprising thing of this series. New York taking the first 2 games in Boston, and then Boston returning their favor in Game 3. I didn't see any of those three coming.
Every Knicks game win I didn't see coming.
I didn't predict them that way. Last night or yesterday, we all sat here and said, okay, if it's not a dead cat bounce, it's certainly what you just said, Jay. It's the galvanizing. It's the Al Horford bringing everybody around. Or as I thought it was going to go down, Jaylen Brown taking over and going off for 40. Instead, they did it more of a team thing. So yeah, it was the Luke Kornet thing was fun, but the fact that the Celtics were able to rally and not be embarrassed on their home court last night, that didn't surprise me.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me either. Obviously, dating back years now, this team has played its best basketball when it's absolutely needed. You could think back to 2022 when they needed to beat Milwaukee on the road in Game 6, then come back home and win Game 7. They've won, I believe it's 5 straight road elimination games, which is like pretty much unprecedented in NBA history. And they just seem to always play their best. Now, obviously, before they did it with Jason Tatum, and he was often a huge piece of those victories. But they're a deep team, and they have a lot of really good players. They played faster in Game 5. They played Peyton Pritchard for 39 minutes. They, sat Porzingis in the second half. Joe Mazzulla said he couldn't breathe, but I would guess part of that, too, was that Kristaps was just ineffective as he has been for much of the playoff run. But it's one thing to do it at home in Boston. It's another thing to go into Madison Square Garden and do it again now that the Knicks have seen you without Tatum, have seen how you're going to play. And I think both teams will be desperate in Game 6.
Can they sustain what they did offensively last night, Jay? And what do you think Tom Thibodeau is going to do, given 36 hours to look at the film of this?
I don't know if they can shoot like that again. Derek White making 4 threes in the first 7 minutes. Jaylen Brown, that's the part that you hope is sustainable. Jaylen Brown, I thought, just really played a composed game. 12 assists, career high 12 assists, 26 points. He was chasing Jalen Brunson around. I thought Jaylen Brown showed up from the tip and pressured Jalen Brunson. Obviously, Drew Holiday had that assignment most of the series. I believe Jaylen Brown wanted that assignment, and he wanted to set a tone. And I thought he did. Third quarter, coming out of halftime, it was tied. Early in the third quarter, he tips it away from Brunson, goes diving into the Celtics bench, makes an incredible play. And Jalen was really not going to be denied in Game 5, and that's the part you want to be sustainable, just that effort, that energy, and if they bring that, then they'll have a chance.
Do you think Luke Kornet starts Game 6, or does he come off the bench?
He has to start. Porzingis, I believe, is now 5 for 21 in the series. He was 0 for 3 in Game 5. He was minus 12 over 12 minutes in Game 5. You have to start Cornet. They've been better with Cornet on the floor all season, and I don't think he's a better player than Kristaps Porzingis, but right now he's giving you more than Kristaps Porzingis, and you can depend on him more than you can depend on Kristaps Porzingis. I think you have to go with Luke Kornet moving forward.
One expert we heard from earlier thinks it'd be a good idea to work out Luke Kornet really, really hard, both today and tomorrow, to get his head out of the clouds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Kornet's going to be riding too high right now, and he needs to be taken down a notch today.
And this just isn't anyway. This is Mike Francesa, who says you got to break this kid down, and you got to rub his nose in the dirt. How do you feel about that?
If anyone was going to do that, it'd be Joe Mazzulla. Like, Luke shows up today, you're nothing. You're nothing. Yeah, no, I don't think you have too much to worry about with Luke Kornet. That guy is pretty steady all the time.
Says you. I mean, I can only imagine the paparazzi surrounding him getting to the practice facility today.
Jay, you brought up a good point on Brown in that he kind of took over role as facilitator last night. Does it worry you if they get into a tighter game tomorrow night in New York that Brown might feel the need to take over and do what the Celtics have been guilty of in the past, playing a little hero ball, stop at the ball movement, whether it's Brown, Tatum, Hell, sometimes it's Derek White. Sometimes it's Peyton Pritchard this season, where they get the ball across half court and say, you know what? I got this. Everybody clear out. You just stand still and let me cook. Do you feel like Brown might fall into that a little bit tomorrow night if they don't have a big lead late?
I think when Tatum's not out there, he feels a real need to get everybody else involved. And if you look at Jaylen's assist numbers when Tatum is not on the court, they skyrocket. And I think he'll probably continue a similar mindset. Now, will he play as clean a game? That's the part that's going to be difficult. He had 12 assists, 2 turnovers. He was in control the whole game. They were out in transition. The Knicks transition defense really struggled. They were producing a ton of 3-pointers. He found guys wide open for 3. Like he really played a great game. And so I don't know if it'll be as well executed, but as far as the mindset of trying to find guys, get people involved, that's the last couple of years he's evolved quite a bit in the ability to do that and the willingness to do that. So I do think he'll try to do that at least. And now, Knicks will probably do a much better defensive job in the next game. I didn't think it was their best game at all. And in Madison Square Garden, it's going to be harder to do than it is in Boston.
All right, who do you like? Do you think that do you like the Celtics now that they've what they showed last night? What do you think happens in this series?
I think they found something with Luke Kornet, or just simply moving away from Porzingis. I think they found something going to 3-guard lineups with more speed on the court, trying to emphasize more pace. If they'd done that and they were fully healthy with Jason Tatum in the mix, you'd probably feel pretty confident if you were the Celtics. But it's going to be really hard to win 3 in a row without him. This Knicks team plays really hard. Mitchell Robinson is a force on the glass. Jalen Brunson has been relentless throughout the whole series. All it takes is one game, and then you're gone. So I think the odds are still against the Celtics right now, but if they do it, it would be one heck of a story.
All right, Jay King hates the Celtics. It's been really good. Jay King, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and you've convinced me. Now Cornet will be ingrained in my mind forever. Read Jay King, The Athletic. Appreciate it, my friend.